Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. I am Jay Lawrence. I am your tour guide for the day. I'm also the co founder of Insiders Only Club. And the reason that I'm here today is because essentially we're going to be here every day. And let me share a couple things with you. First off, I'm having a little electronic technical difficulty, but we're going to go without the uh, the cam here for a second, and maybe all of our technology will catch up. But the one thing I do want to tell you is that we have some really amazing thing that's happening here at Insiders Only, and I want to start the day to let you guys know that we're going to be here every day. That's Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 9 a.m. on Saturday. For all of you who are in traffic and can't make it, and you want to get it live, great. There are recordings, and everything that you find in terms of content, you're going to see it on insidersonly.club. That is our primary site. You can go there and get access to a myriad of things that are going to help improve your life. That would be your business life and many times your personal life. Because again, when your business life is going really well, that means you're actually creating more profits, right? It feels better to you. You're redeploying those profits in ways that's making you happier. And again, your life is better, right? So we'll tell you that. But the first thing is that this daily show needs to be shared with at least 5 of the most persuasive people that you have in your life. Again, you're going to hear me preach that, right? Evangelize that, because if you're going to actually improve yourself, right, it starts with self. And the first thing that you're going to need to do is make sure you take a real accounting of the individuals that you have closest to you. Like, those are the people that are your persuaders. So I want to make sure that we're on the same page here. You are in control. However, people will persuade you to do things. Some things are phenomenal. Some things are kind of, I don't know if I should do that. The main thing is that you need to know who those individuals are. So again, this is all about one of today's topics. This is about leadership, but this is a specific methodology that we actually learned through some work that we did with the great famous author, incredible mind, John C. Maxwell. So if anybody's read the book, 5 Levels of Leadership, we're going to get into that in a second. But the first thing I want to do is this. I want to thank everybody who showed up for our very first broadcast this past Saturday. This was great for us because we have been working on the Insiders Only Club. And what it really is an amalgamation of all the teachings and learnings, all of the deal flow, going back and looking at what went right, what went wrong, how we can improve it. We put it all into a series of courses, right? And all of these courses, we're just really referring to them as master classes, but they are from 4 weeks to 8 weeks master classes, and there's 26 of them. Why is that? Like, what do you mean? We're doing this and we put this content together for you because we know that if you really want to level up in life, you're going to actually have to do it from the lens of an educator. What do I mean when I say that? When you're sitting down, you know for a fact that the content that you're about to consume, that you have to know it at the level which you have to teach other people this content, you're going to actually sort of your antennae, right, are going to be much more attuned, right? That frequency is going to resonate with you. It's going to feel better, right? Because you know that you're consuming it because you know you're consuming it to master it. Why? So you can teach your inner circle. So maybe the inner circle is your family. Maybe it's your close group of friends. Maybe it's your work colleagues, right? The main thing is that when you plug into Insiders Only Club, we promise you that you're going to actually get something out of it that's going to help you do one or two things. Either you're going to be this individual who is a corporate side hustler right now. And in fact, I want to make sure that we go back. There was a couple things that were brought to my attention from Saturday from my team. And I want to thank Jimmy for this. She said, hey, I have a lot of doctors, and because Jimmy's a doctor, she's PhD, she's got this phenomenal program. It's called the Brain and Behavior Coach and Nutrition Certification Program, right? It's picked up by the GSA and ETPL. So I don't get too far in the weeds, but just know that cities and states and the federal government buys our material, course material. That's the sort of the foundation of which that when you take any of our courses, that course can lead to an accreditation, which is actually college credits, right? So let me say that when we're focusing on this, like we have doctors and we have individuals who are kind of working within a particular system, meaning that doctors are taught how to be doctors and doctors are taught to be great doctors, right? And it takes a phenomenal amount of internal fortitude to just power through medical school, power through the process of obviously having a residency, the power of, I mean, there's so many things and there's so many headwinds. The unfortunate thing is one of the headwinds that every doctor is faced with is that they kind of got to the point where they understood I know how to be a doctor, but then there ends up being a bit of a drop off for a lot of doctors. You know who you are, that what ends up happening is that they actually don't necessarily understand how to make the jump to be a successful business doctor, right? So there's the business of doctoring, of which that needs to be, excuse the pun here, doctored, right? We need to be able to kind of help it a little bit. And this is one of the reasons why we say, listen, particularly if you are somebody in the medical profession, we teach you principally how to navigate in ways that will allow you to create more profit. You see, there when you're a doctor, if anybody doesn't know, if you're a doctor, there's certain and from a business standpoint, there's certain ways that your business entities have to be established. Many times it's a PC or a PLLC. This P means professional, right? And so if you're a doctor, sometimes a lawyer, you have to have this type of structure. It's just the way the state governments organize this thing, and they force you many times to personally take revenue to yourself, right? That's why you have a lot of doctors that are S corps, right? Because they have the protection of an LLC, but then what ends up happening is they have to take all that revenue on themselves, and a lot of doctors pay incredibly high numbers when it comes to fees, taxation, when it comes to just all of this. There's a ton of fee structure, and then we didn't even talk about how they're getting paid through insurance companies, which is a whole nother hornet's nest that we know many doctors struggle with. But there's a way to organize all of that where you can also take the profits that you do get in your practice and immediately spend those profits into something like, I don't know, a licensing deal with one of your non-tax state LLCs that allows you to actually take those dollars and push them over to your private bank, right? Your private foundation, right? And a private foundation is something that invests. So how about being able to take profits, put it into a vehicle that any profits that it actually creates are non-tax. So there's no capital gain sitting in a private foundation. Now you go back and you start investing back in this business, or your practice, or wherever it is, but you want to do it through that particular lens. These are some of the things that you will learn when you enroll as part of the Insiders Only Club. Okay. Again, insidersonly.club. You go to the very bottom of the page, right? Pick a program, right? The baseline program is free. How about that? Right? We're pouring into you to ensure that you continue to have this sort of daily lift, right? That's important. But then there's a program where it's really about, we call it the next level. This is where if you are currently a doctor or currently you're somewhere inside corporate America, right? Or somewhere inside the structure of corporate America where you're working and your dollars are tied to your hours, okay? You have to create another entity that's going to allow you to leverage passive income. And sometimes passive income, yeah, it can come from real estate and rents and that and the other, but it can also come from other businesses that you have a license agreement with. You have intellectual property, you license it to another LLC. When that revenue, the profit is then paid to that license through that license to an entity, that is the beginning of you being able to take in passive income. So that's another definition of passive income. Again, if you have insurance policies, right? Insurance, anything that is annuity, anything that's actually spinning off capital that you don't actually have to physically, like you're not digging a ditch, right? You're not putting a needle in somebody's arm. You're not doctoring, right? But what you're doing is you have enough intellectual property to where you can create a license agreement where you can take some of that money and pay that license group. This is a thing. It's a structure. You have to understand clearly how to do it. Again, listen, I'm not an accountant. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV, right? Only thing that I know is that Everything that I'm sharing with you, and I will continue to share with you, it's all in the federal code, or US code. Thank goodness for the US Constitution. Because part of the mandate in the US Constitution is the following: anything that our governing bodies do, they have to put it in writing. They put it in a big old giant book and they post it online. Most people would think that you have to walk through like tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands worth of cash investments to understand these principles. We don't. We do this whole thing for $369 a month. So anybody who wants to really be on the inside and get this level of intelligence around how to make your business flourish, insidersonly.club. All right. So I'm going to take a little bit of a pivot and go back to what I shared with you earlier. We were talking about John C. Maxwell's 5 levels of leadership. And I want to make sure that we're on the same page on this thing. No matter what you think of yourself, to some degree, to someone, either you are a leader or a follower. You're only one of two things. Like you're just not stuck, on an island in this nebulous zone of nothing. It's not the way it works. Either you're following someone's instruction and guidance, or they're following yours. That means that, particularly when you're talking about like the levels of leadership, John C. Maxwell, and I'm going to tell you a very short story. Okay, I'm going to time this. Okay. So John C. Maxwell, in the book, what he really does is he helps you identify the type of leader, and I'm going to use a company like Starbucks as an example. Okay, so let's assume that somebody's a Starbucks manager, and they're a manager in Tokyo, Japan. Okay, and they decide that they want to actually move to another city. They choose beautiful Las Vegas, right? So they come to Las Vegas. They already work it out that they can do a lateral move and they can come now into Las Vegas. That individual is a manager, the new manager in their brand new store, right? The store's already been established, already has staff, it's already there, but they come there as the manager. They have leadership by what? By title. Why? Because they are the manager. That is a level 1 leader. Now I'm going to share this with you. This is a lot of this is sort of structured within the frame of business, right? But there's an element of this in your personal life as well. But let's just focus on the business side, right? Okay. So if you know that you are a level 1 leader, you can raise your hand, right? Level 1, meaning you have the title of manager, or you have the title of supervisor, you have the title where you are really, quote unquote, at a particular level of the business, you are a boss. Okay. Then you have the second level of leadership, the one who has the title, but also the one that is likable. See, a level 2 leader is the one that we've all like worked with before, in our lives, professional lives and whatnot, where that level 2 leader is the one that they have the title, but you just like them. They're just great personality. They're gregarious. They're outgoing. They make everybody feel good or laugh, or they don't give you the impression that you're on an island all by yourself, right? They're likable people they kind of create team, right? Because everybody wants to band together, right? And that's great. So you have the second, right? That's the individual has the title and they're likable. Now the third, and again, let's stay with the metaphor of a Starbucks, right? So this particular manager is level 3. The level 3 manager is the one that just gets it done, right? How many of you walked into a Starbucks before and you had, one person, you could tell they're kind of the manager because they may have a headset in, they have something around their waist, they have a rag in their hand, they're out there wiping off tables in the little condiment bar, and they're wiping windows, they're doing everything. You can hear they're talking to somebody in the headset. They're actually working on the schedule. They're working to make sure that the line for the drive-through is happening. They're doing all of this work. And there's other people there at Starbucks that are doing work too. But as it turns out, the person who's doing the most work, right, and literally coordinating and getting everybody to do their thing and operating with great energy, that is the level 3, because that person is showing their leadership by example. They're not telling you to wipe off the table. They're doing it and saying, hey, if I'm doing it, maybe you can do it too, right? That level of leadership is the one who is both has the title, likable, and number 3, they're the doers. Now, I'm going to tell you, in life, if 90% of all the management managers, whoever you supervisors, whoever you are, if you were able to get to a level 3 and you were highly efficient at being a level 3, again, you had the title, you're likable, and you should show you do the work. You could stop right there. You could probably climb all the way up in certain companies just because you are literally like leveraging the fact that not only do you know what to do, you actually do it, and you're willing to show people that you will do it. That will get you a long way. But let's move to level 4. The level 4 leader is the one, quite frankly, they are the leader who nurtures. And I'm going to explain. I know guys are like, nurturing is kind of, squishy, but there's a thing to this. Here's where I'm going. You see, if you have the title and you're likable and you're the one who actually like gets the work done, you're showing, but the nurturer is the one that when you walk in, you know that they sort of give you and they love you exactly where you are. Like they're not trying to force you to be somebody who you're not. They recognize, right, the pace and the cadence of which that you want to go through your professional life, and they help you to direct you in that location or that area, that genre, that space where you could be at your best. You see, the level 4 leader is the ones that actually encourages and coaches people to be their best, and they do it in such a almost like a benign way, but it's also very elegant, right? Where they're not overly doing it. They're not clapping and coaching and yelling and this, that, and the other as if they were on a football field. They're doing it on the baseline of like understanding like the personality of the individual who they're working with and talking to. And because they understand the personality aspect of it, that in itself means that they're caretakers of you, right? And they're making you feel like not only are you part of the team, you're not part of a winning team. You see, that level 4, those individuals end up being the individuals that get these, they get the plaques, they get the awards, right? And the team really rallies around them. See, just simply getting to level 4, sometimes it takes a lifetime for someone to do that. Okay. But a level 4 leader unequivocally is the one that if you make it that far and you really are, really paying attention to your team and the nurturing aspect of what your team is doing, you win. You always win. Everybody wants to be on that team because if you're the one that's making everybody feel that they're on a winning team, all they're going to do is tell their friends and family and other colleagues they should be on this team. So staffing ends up being a zero problem for the nurturer. That individual is lauded by all of these corporations, all these big businesses. They want to have a herd, right, of level 4 leaders in their organization. But now let's step it up. Let's talk about the level 5 leader. John C. Maxwell did such a phenomenal job with this. And so I'm probably 10, 15 years ago, on this book, somewhere in there. I read every one of the books and the titles that I share with you at least 3 times, some of them 6 or 7. But the fact of the matter is I always extract value, and I learned this because of the nuances that you will find inside 5 levels of leadership, right? So this is a book. If you're on Audible, get it, listen to it, because he's got this incredible voice, right? I love the fact that he would really do his own voice on his books. But the level 5 is the iconic leader. Okay, so let's start. So the iconic leader possesses all 4, right? They have the title, they're likable, they get the job done, they're a nurturer. But the level 5 is somebody who is adept at actually taking somebody from a level 1. They pour into them in just enough. It's sort of like an ingredient, right? There's enough title, there's enough likability, there's enough of this, you get it done, show people you can get it done. There's enough of the nurturing. It's almost like this recipe for success, right? You add all 4 of those factors in, but the iconic individual has learned that it actually is a recipe. You see, they see it as having all of the ingredients, but knowing exactly how much is the right amount for each individual who they work through. And why? Because the iconic individual is able to grow people into that level 4 and then put them on stage for them to get that next level of, this is an ingredient, right? You know how to mix it, use a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you're going to end up having this phenomenal team. This phenomenal team members in the team. But again, it's still a team. You see, that iconic is where you want to be. There are only a few individuals on the planet, because I'm going to give you one more reason why iconic individuals are so lauded. They are because what they end up doing is they're willing to supplant their own on stage, right? Their own spotlight, their own sort of like, it's all about me. The other thing about the iconic leaders that everybody knows is about them, but they're so like their humility lives to the point where it becomes part of the essence of who they are because they're so humble. Everybody wants to hang out with them. Everybody wants to follow their lead. Everybody wants to read what they read. Everybody wants to watch what they watch. Everybody wants to eat what they eat. You just want to almost be that individual because they've shown you that they believe in you so much, and you've taken that counseling, that leadership, that consulting, that whatever it is, however brand that they actually provide to you in terms of the way that they're giving you what you need. They've done it so well that they've done it literally tens of times, hundreds of times, many times, thousands of times. And I'm going to wrap this and say this. I want you to think about it. And if you're on any of the socials right now, I want you to tell me who you think, and I'm going to give you the definition, who you think is this iconic leader amongst all of the people that we know, right? Listen, I want you to tell me who you think is an iconic leader, because the iconic leader, the ultimate definition is that they've been able to grow someone from starter all the way to the point where they are at that same iconic level leader too. And those are the individuals that may have hundreds, tens of thousands, millions of followers, or people that plug into them either through the books or their YouTube channels, or if they're on regular TV there, or however they're coming to market, right? Whatever they're doing, whatever medium they have, but they have literally tens of thousands, if not millions of people that are just like hanging on their every word. But they've been able to do that same thing, not just for themselves, but they've created 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other people that have that same platform. They've done that thing because they understand the value of being an iconic leader. So if you give me a name of someone that you know that everybody knows, it can't be somebody at your office that nobody knows. We're talking about people that are in the public eye. Who would be somebody who's grown multiple people? Those individuals have sort of heightened their space, right, in the ethos of what it is to be social. Everybody knows who those individuals are. I want you to tell me who is the leader, and give me one person that they actually grew. And I'm going to wait 5 more seconds. Okay. Right. Ding, 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 ding. Right. All right. I'm going to give it to you. There's only one person who is alive today. There are many who have done it over time, but there's only one person who's alive today that unequivocally is the heavyweight champion of iconic leader. That person is Oprah Winfrey. What? Oprah Winfrey? How can that be? Well, remember what the definition was. First off, everybody has to know that individual leader, right? You see, Oprah Winfrey, through her Harpo and her other organizations, she grew a Dr. Phil. She grew a Rachel Ray. She grew Ayanna Van Sant. She grew, I forget the other gentleman. At one point, anybody who was thinking about weight loss or anything on his deep TV daytime show, he had millions of people. Dr. Oz. Millions of people thought Dr. Oz was really their doctor. Just like millions of people thought that Dr. Phil was really their therapist, right? And Rachel Ray is this iconic, really chef, right? But this brandeteer, right? This person has so many brands and doing so many things. Like, listen, we used to feed our dogs Rachel Ray brand dog food. Okay, like you're talking about. Oprah created these individuals. She saw the vision in them, right? She trumpeted their vision. She amplified their vision to the point where they all have iconic statuses, right? Because they all have staff and they're working on creating their own version, right, of the same thing that Oprah did for them. They're all working diligently to do the same thing. So I just want to share this. Know where you are amongst the 5 levels of leadership. Are you a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And here's the thing. It's really based on those 5 people who are your persuaders, right? Where do you fit in the pecking order of the 5 people that are persuading you? And I want to leave you with one more thing. Many people are being persuaded by people who they don't know. Like, you don't personally know me, many of you, but if you plug in, I begin to persuade you to do the things that's going to be additive to your life, right? This is what we do at Insiders Only Club. But I want to share this part with you. The 5 don't have to be in the same room with you. They could be any individual that you say, you know what, that person is additive to my life. That person thus then is one of your 5 persuaders. Some people say I have more than that. Some people say I have less, but everybody on average has 5. And I'm going to leave you with that, because remember, your leadership needs to be honed in, and it needs to be honed in the realms which that you need to know what you need to work on, right? And if the people that you have in your group, if you have you plus 5 people, and as it turns out, you're an iconic to all 5 of those individuals, you need to get some better and more diverse persuaders in your life. You need people that are going to challenge you, people that are going to bring new concepts to you. You need to have that thing, because that's the only way that you're going to sharpen your edge, sharpen your tools, and the only way that you're actually going to be the iconic leader that you know you can be. And again, you want more of this? Insidersonly.club, right? Register, go to the bottom of the page, choose a plan, free plan, or all the way up to the founder's plan, whatever it is, choose a program, get plugged in, get the education, start to monetize. Because listen, you can Google all the information you want, but until you turn information into knowledge, knowledge is the thing that you know, and you can only monetize what you know. And with that, I'm Jay Lawrence. He was done. Thank you.